and chat. Do I look presentable? I do look presentable. Okay, just making sure. Woo, Lord. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we are good to go here, and we are live. Hi, how you doing? How you be? Top to the AB, and I hope everybody's having a happy Friday. I am doing pretty well. I having a pretty good Friday here. We got a lot going on, a lot of new stuff coming out. I'm actually happy because I get a 3-day weekend, which doesn't happen ever. So, some of the history of ever, this is the first time I actually get a 3-day weekend. So just a quick rundown of what this channel is about. So we don't really play video games. We actually troubleshoot people who have problems with video games. So or tech or PC issues or networking issues or IP issues or video game issues, all that. So essentially anything that is technical related, we will troubleshoot. So yeah, that's kind of how our channel works. And my name is Anthony, or the Open Forum. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. There's a few things to talk about that are actually pretty interesting. And there's a few videos that I haven't seen yet that I want to see. So we're going to watch those first before we get started here, because we have a lot of cool topics. All right, so first off, it's going to be this new trailer called Wild West Dynasty. I was looking at it earlier. I thought it was kind of interesting, but I never actually saw the entire video. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? This will make a pretty interesting topic, because I've never even played Red Dead Redemption. I don't know why. It's such a gigantic game. I never really got a chance to get into it, but I saw this one and I was like, oh, I'll hit play. Let's see what's going on here.
Let me tell you a story about the Wild West.
Oh my, the voice.
A story about survival. About freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. About hopes
What's up with
and
these
dreams.
graphics, man?
A story about revenge. This is not what you expected.
Nope.
Then write your own story. Wild West Dynasty. Your world, your rules.
Well, of all the games in the world, that is definitely one of them. That's wow. Wow. Oh, it has a hold on, we'll go back. What? Is that really? Okay. It had commercials before and after. Game has a solid 8% review score on Steam. So 8% of people liked it, yeah, and 83% people gave it the Red Dead review. It went up to 25%. Nothing will ever top Red Dead as a Western game. It's still, my opinion, one of the greatest games ever released. This game is gonna fail harder than Dutch's plan. This is like Red Dead in their second year of development. Coming soon, March 2006. Can't wait. Okay, I didn't want to say nothing because I didn't want it. Okay, me personally, I've never played Red Dead, but I know it has excellent graphics, and I didn't want to prejudge a game before it came out. But yeah, it looked like trash. If you want my opinion, it looked like Western trash. It looked like Wild West with Will Smith. Like I was just waiting for Will Smith to pop up and be like, yo, 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 me and my wife don't get along. Like I was just waiting for that to happen, but it didn't. So I mean, hey, it's a game. It's definitely a game. I don't know. I saw the beginning of it and I stopped it and I never saw the entire video. So, wow, good Lord. We have Dead Red Redemption 2 at home. Oh my God, this is not what you expected. Trailers summed it up perfectly. Even I was like, oh, this is not what you expected. Nope. Good Lord. What the hell was that? Okay, Wild West Dynasty. Okay, you keep that. We'll still troubleshoot you, but good Lord. Good Lord. Okay, I had to see this just because everybody talks so badly about Forspoken, so I had to see this honest trailer for Forspoken. I mean, who doesn't want to see like an honest trailer for Forspoken? I didn't even get a chance to finish playing the game. Like, okay, first off, I couldn't deal with the banter. The banter between her and her Apple Watch was just way too much for me. Like, I'm sorry. You don't have to cuss out your Apple Watch. It's okay. Please do it. Yes. Add me to the list.
From the company that really wants to die on the NFT hill and the developers of Pretty Boys Road Trip comes an
Yeah, it
attempt at
was.
a new video game IP that dares to answer the question, what if everyone in our video game sucked? Forspoken. Leap into the magical world of Forspoken, a fantasy land without Square's signature pointy-haired Abercrombie models, which had people excited for its high-end graphics and magic blasting action that was utterly lambasted on release as its awkward Joss Whedon-esque dialogue.
Yeah, okay, that is something I do now.
And ridiculously high PC requirements had people dunking on it from the stratosphere even before it came out, throwing it onto Square's pile of new IPs that were basically already dead on release. But hey, at least people know this one actually exists, even if that's because it's impossible not to marvel at a two-story tower of poop. Step into the New Balance sneakers of Frey, an orphan from the streets of New York with an enormous chip on her shoulder and talks like she's perpetually in a COD lobby.
Oh yeah, I'm talking to a f***ing cuff.
Who gets sucked into a magical realm and given super speed and eldritch powers, and then proceeds to bitch about every single thing she does for the rest of the game.
If you're gonna rhyme everything, then just kill me now.
With her only companion being a sarcastic British bangle who's just as annoying if slightly more invested.
Two can play at that game.
You're f***ing stupid.
Then watch as they uncover the mystery of the break and defeat the other Tantas, a bunch of magic-wielding matriarchs dressed like they're going to the Grammys, all while listening to these two assholes complain about how much they hate this place.
Be there, alone, then spend one more minute in this fucking hellhole.
In a story that's surprisingly bleak and joyless for a game where the standout feature is something called magical parkour. Wild suggestion, but maybe I'd be more invested in your world building if you didn't constantly tell me how much everything sucks.
For real.
Explore the open world of Athia as you dash and leap across the landscape at high speed in traversal that feels pretty satisfying when it isn't janking out constantly, jetting from one landmark to the next, almost all of which will pitch you against a handful of enemies, or if you're lucky, a very simple sliding puzzle for the chance to win a new necklace or stat upgrade that start to blur together a little after you've done them 5 or 6 times in an open world that feels like they generated a ton of space, then ran out of time to actually put anything fun in it. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll fix that in Forspoken 2, a game that is definitely happening.
No, not.
Can't be.
Blast your foes apart with poorly explained magics in Forspoken's combat, where you'll weave together Frey's rock powers with the skill she's stolen from her enemies Mega Man style, to knock your foes flying, tie them up, explode them, and generally make them have a bad time, while floating around improbably using Frey's incredibly generous dodge, in combat that starts out tedious and repetitive, but gets pretty satisfying once you unlock more abilities. That is if you're willing to sit through enough hours of Frey crying about being Gandalf to get to that point.
You don't look like a hero. That's because I'm not.
And this time, you can't just make it up to me with cats. Okay, the cat with the wings is pretty cute.
Creatures are rather easily swayed, aren't they?
So get those nail guns dry and get ready to groan through some banter for a game that has some good things going for it, but is so underbaked it'll give you indigestion with a story that leaves a really bad taste in your mouth. Basically, I'm calling this the Papa John's of video games.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days.
Starring passive-aggressive slap bracelet, turning red, Mindy killing, Lady Gaga, Tanta not appearing in this game, and Wino Fantasy. Bore spoken. Just a pro tip for Forspoken 2. The part of the hero's journey where they refuse the call Doesn't have to be 20 hours. Tell us what you'd like to hear in my epic voice in the comments
Wow.
below.
The disrespect. Well, okay. Well, the level of disrespect that people have for this game, I get it. I get it. I couldn't get through the trailer, so the fact that people actually finished playing that game was it was too awkward between them. It's like dealing. Okay, it's like you're in the middle of a room and there's two people that are arguing and getting ready to break up. And it's like you're still there, and like you don't even want to be anywhere in this room or anywhere near these two people that are arguing with each other, but you're just there and you can't leave. That's exactly what it felt like, because their banter was so awkward and it's like cringe, and it's like, you shut up, and it's like, no, you shut up, and I'm just like, can I just go now? Do I have to watch this? Okay, and then last one is going to be Metroid Prime, and then we can start helping people. We're not going to watch this whole thing because it's freaking 8 minutes, but we'll just watch the end just to see what they say about it.
But another to determine if you are even doing damage in a way that matters. Additionally, you must constantly try combinations of visor modes, beams, and concussive ammo to find enemies' weaknesses, setting up tense struggles as you juggle your gear in real time.
This looks just as bad as that first one.
It's been one of my favorite games for decades, but it's still shocking that Metroid Prime's bones are so strong that 21 years later, in 2023, Metroid Prime Remastered had to do so little beyond modernizing the controls and updating the graphics to become one of the best games you can buy once again. This ultimate solo mission is a respite from the noise of hint-giving companions and lengthy cinematic cutscenes that make up much of today's single-player games. Those things have their place, but Metroid Prime Remastered shows you can tell a story and create a grand adventure by building an amazing world and creating unique and fun tools to explore it. I strongly encourage you to delve into Metroid Prime Remastered and get lost. For more Metroid Prime Remastered, check out the first minutes of gameplay and our graphics comparison with the original version. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
I've actually never played Metroid Prime, not even the first one. Like Metroid, okay, I didn't get introduced to Samus until she appeared in Smash Brothers. Outside of that, I never knew who Samus was. Like, I've never played any of the Metroid games. I knew her, because as soon as she got, unmasked as a girl, then I knew who Samus was, but I never actually knew the character. So, I mean, I may actually play that. Oh, I have the other Metroid game. I still haven't played that either. So one of these days I'll get to it. Okay, let's get to helping people here. We got quite a few going on. Why is that smaller than it was earlier? I may have missed a couple, but it's okay. So let's go ahead and get started here. Oh, no, I know what this is. So basically, this is the group from yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to work them, so we're just gonna pick them up today, and it's still at 0, so that's good. All right, so I guess it's not good, but we'll work it. Responsible Door 393. Responsible Door writes, enabling Play Store on Samsung S21 when it doesn't show in settings. As the title suggests, on my S21, I disabled Google Play Store. For the life of me, I can't remember why. I can't remember why either. That's very rare. And I now need to enable it. However, in settings where all the other apps, I tried disabling other apps and they still showed up there to enable. And it doesn't appear anywhere regardless of filters. Please help. I'm desperate at this point. So he has a Samsung S21 and he disabled the Google Play Store. Are you alive? Oh, you're alive, but you're very low. Hold on. There we go. You're at 3%. We saved your life. Okay. So how the hell do you disable the Google Play Store? That's doesn't happen too often, for sure. So if we go to the applications here, let me get to it and I'll show everybody. So where is it? Display, wallpaper, themes, safety, blah, 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 accounts. Oh, apps. Here we go. So let's see. Search for, how did you Google Play? Oh, yeah, I guess you can. Okay, well, here's what it says for Google Play Store, and I'm sorry, I can't. It only has 3% life, so it's going to be kind of low, but you can probably still see it, though. There you go. So you can actually do some things here. There are some options. So it shows battery and storage for the Google Play Store. So it's there. So it appears that can't remember why, and now I need to enable it. However, in settings where all the other apps are, I tried disabling other apps and they still showed up there to enable. But he said he disabled this one here. Well, I don't. Okay, so you can uninstall the updates, but I've never known that of anyone who's actually been able to remove it. Permissions blocked, set as default in this app. Mobile usage, blah blah blah. Change system settings allowed. Allow permissions. Nope, that's not it. App details in store. Well, it's the Google Play Store. So if it's gone, then okay, yeah, there's nothing we can do here. Alrighty. We checked on our lab Android phone, and there doesn't appear to be a way to, well, let me make sure before I say that. Let me back out one, and then apps. Going back to settings. Let me just back out one just to make sure. Settings, Google Play Store. Okay. Special access, reset app preferences, permission manager. No, it's not. Okay, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure that holding on to the application, like holding it to click on it, doesn't actually give us more options. It doesn't. Alrighty, we checked on our lab Android phone, and there doesn't appear to be a way to disable or re-enable the Google Play Store. But if the app is not in your settings, you can take a backup of your phone to the Google Cloud and reset it. That would, oh, here, before we say that, doesn't appear to be a way to disable or re-enable the Google Play Store. However, you can try to install the most up-to-date version of firmware to see if it reinstalls. But if the app is not in your settings, you can take a backup of your phone to the Google Cloud, or take a backup of your phone. You can take a backup of your phone and move it to the Google Cloud and reset it. Alrighty, we checked on our lab Android phone, and there doesn't appear to be a way to disable or re-enable the Google Play Store. However, you can try to install the most up-to-date version of firmware to see if it reinstalls. But if that app is not in your settings, you can take a backup of your phone and move it to the Google Cloud and reset it. That's right. There we go. So yeah, that's what I would say for that. Just, reset it. That's probably going to be your best way to go about it. Or just if there is an update available, go ahead and try to update to that and then take it from there. Okay, responsible door. Let's hope that helps. Ooh, finally finished my dream office. Yo, that is actually a really nice office. I like how long his desk is, because you can actually have something here, and then you can have a whole like computer building work area here. Plus you have another computer here for some reason. I'm guessing it's like his wife or something. So, that's still pretty sweet though. I like his build. I like having that kind of space. Like that would be really, really nice. Granted, this space that I have here isn't exactly small, but I like what he did with what he had with his space. That's really nice. So congrats to him. Looks sick. Looks sick. Looks sick. He got a backup computer in case his main computer got bored. Looks sick. Congrats on the build, bro. Be sure to put the no women allowed sign outside, or it will no longer be your cave. There we go. Quick manly joke there. Okay, that's for Snowman. Congratulations, Snowman. All right, let's go and go to the next one here. Logsies. Okay, well, all right then. I boot up a game and it runs normally with constant high FPS, but after 5 minutes or so, the FPS drops rock bottom. It stays the same until I alt tab out and back to the game. I remember this. It instantly revives the FPS if I do this. I'm looking for help because this constantly happens and I'm getting tired of alt tabbing in and out every 5 minutes. I've already tried changing the driver version for NVIDIA and even clean installation with DDU. Since this is a laptop, I couldn't increase the fan speed manually if it was a heat issue, but I'm pretty sure it isn't, because even Skyrim, which barely heats up my laptop, is getting frame drops every 5 minutes. Any help would be appreciated. Thanks in advance. And so we replied on this one here. Let's go ahead and refresh just to make sure that there's not a million posts. No, it's just still us. Okay. Yes, do you run your games in full screen or windowed mode? If you run it in window, change to full screen and vice versa to see if it makes a difference. Also, what are the specs of the laptop you are using? I tried running in a bunch of different modes, but it still says the same. My specs are 8 gigs of RAM. Intel HD 620 MX 110. Core i5 7500 and 1 terabyte HDD, I think. This isn't MX 110. Let's that up real quick. Laptop? Okay, so it's an HP. Somewhere in that area, but it's an MX 110. Oh, it's a GeForce MX 110. That's the graphics driver that they have. Okay, gotcha. So MX 110 is the graphics driver. Never even heard of it. That's not. Oh, it's kind of an older PC. Well, the 8 gigs of RAM is what's probably going to kill you. Intel Core i5 7500. Well, with this one, what are you gaming at? This PC does not appear. What was his processor? i5 7500, and we were looking at 8250. So this is only one generation above his. So I mean, 2 gigs of VRAM. You're not gonna do much, bro. Okay, let's have them change down the resolution. Let's see what that does. So okay, just making sure no background audios in the sound profiles. Okay, cool. Well, with this one, what are you gaming at? This PC does not appear to be that capable of gaming. Let's try this. What happens if you set the resolution of the games you are testing to 720p? 720p and low. He said he tried to update his drivers, but it's also an Intel HD 620, which means that if he disabled his Intel drivers, he disabled his NVIDIA drivers, it'll switch to Intel and it should work as well. But I don't want to take that chance, especially with a laptop that I've never worked with. So I don't really want to disable the graphics adapter. But yes, that is a valid troubleshooting step, especially if you are talking with that person one-on-one. But in our kind of setup, you don't really want to do that because he's going to go 3 days without having his graphics if something goes wrong. And we want to make sure that we help more than we hurt. So this PC does not appear to be that capable of gaming. Let's try this. What happens if you set the resolution of the games you are testing to 720p and low? Does your frame rate increase? Does your frame rate increase? All right, so the reason why we want to do that is because if you're at 720p and then you're at low, so you're below 1080p, and so it's not that pressing on your graphics card, and your graphics card isn't that strong to begin with anyway. So we're trying to get it at kind of the lowest setting possible to see exactly what happens. If that actually increases your frame rate, then your computer just may not be capable of playing the games that you're trying to play anymore. You only have 8 gigs of RAM too, so it could be that your RAM is saturated. It's several different reasons that can cause this issue, but more so probably RAM. But I mean, we gotta look at it like this though. Your graphics card has 2 gigs and your PC has 8. both are low. Okay, and for most games, if we're talking about 1080p, they're both not very good when it comes to your frames and your resolution. So yeah, it's not ideal. Does your frame rate increase? As your frame rate increase. Let's try this. What happens if you set the resolution of the games you are testing at 720p? Does your frame rate increase? We'll leave it at that. Does your frame rate increase? Yeah, we'll leave it at that and see what they say. I really want them to try that at 720p and see exactly what they get. I'm sure they're probably still trying at 1080p. Well, here, let's add this real quick. Also, what is your RAM utilization while playing a game? CPU. Okay, so I still want to. I do want to know how much RAM they're utilizing, because if I had to guess, I would say that 8 gig is toast, because of the way certain games are running nowadays. So I don't think it's gonna do very well. This particular laptop with those particular settings and that particular graphics card. So I think that maybe it may be possible that his frame drops are legit, because of what he's dealing with and his computer and his laptop, because it's not exactly the strongest, and he may be straight up running at 1080p or 2K. Probably not 2K, probably 1080p. But if we drop that down to 720p low, let's see what he gets. That'll let us know if it's telling the truth or not. Okay, so this is from Gear Leguia, whatever. This is from Gear. Gear writes, completed my first SFF PC build inside a new 2U mini ITX rack-mounted case. Well, that is a thing. It is very small for, okay, well, one, that's the A2000, but oh, okay. So, okay. I used to have a server rack. I had a 16U server rack that I had in my house, and I had it there for years. It was so useful because all I had to do was like plug all my networking gear, plug directly into the rack. I've always wanted one in my house, but then when I had one, I mean, it was sitting in my living room, so obviously it's not the most attractive thing you can have in your house, but it worked out for me for a while, until I actually wanted to start dating again. So I had to get rid of it. But outside of that, it was great. Completing my first SFF PC build inside of a new. Okay, gotcha. So that's pretty much it on this one. Nice build, bro. Very what's another word for camouflage? Subtle. Very subtle on the server rack. What else he has on the server rack? I'm so into that. Okay, so you don't even want to show us what all you have on your server rack. Okay, well, that's disappointing. Nice build, bro. Very subtle on the server rack. Yeah, that is clean though. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not sure how that cooling's gonna fare, because, well, okay. So first off, this is typically what you want to do whenever you have something like this. If it's like 2U, you want to put like a space in it so to make sure that the fans can get some good cooling. So it looks like he has a full 1U rack between the two, so that helps out a lot. The only thing that'll kick him in his butt is if this guy here is super long, like if it needs a full size rack cage and he only has like a half height or a half length cage. That's where you can have a problem, because this will bow downwards and it can actually interfere with the fan flow. But outside of that, this looks really good. So congrats to you, good sir. All right, at group 2, let's do this. Okay, group 2, work gaming rig finally complete. Wow, I like that. I like his computer. His computer is cray cray. It's also huge and you can't take it anywhere. But outside of that, it's pretty sweet. And I like how he has I guess that's beer. Oh, he has the what's the name of that? The Razer what was it called? It's not a Black Widow. It's like a an ergonomic mouse for the left hand side, for like the left of your hand. I tried to use that for actual gaming and for an MMO I was actually playing, but I kind of got annoyed with it. It's not it takes some getting used to, this guy here, but still pretty pro build. I know that's where I'm putting most of red lowest brights. There's nothing to say about it, but it's still a really nice build. Congratulations, Mr. Sergeant. All right. All right, so this is from Captain Birdseye 96, and he says Microsoft Edge app disappeared. Oh, I remember this. So this is the one we worked on yesterday. Basically, Microsoft Edge really did disappear, but when we went to it, we actually never had the option to actually make it go away. So the fact that he had it there and I didn't means that his computer, his Xbox needs to be reset, or something is up with his settings, or he may need to run an update. Well, I don't see it either, so it appears it may have been removed. However, I do see Bing. Oh, just found it. It's already in my downloads, and it won't let me remove it, which means if you don't see it in the store and you don't see it in storage apps, then you would need to reset the console for it to reinstall. Thanks. It ended up sorting it last night. Just did the hard reset on my console and left it for 5 minutes. It has appeared in my apps again now. Sweet. Glad. Hard reset? That's not this. Is that what that is? Let's find out real quick. Let's just find out what he's saying. Because I need to make sure that what you mean when you say hardware reset. I thought that's what that meant. Like, for example, if we're in settings, system, console information. Okay, so it's just reset console. What happens if you click on it? Okay. Reset and keep my games and apps. He said he did a hard reset. Okay, so hard reset, I'm guessing he means that he may have unplugged it, because I don't exactly see what he means by that. Glad you were able to get it going. By hard reset, you mean you just unplugged it and it worked? Or did you choose one of the reset options in console info? I just want to make sure, just from our own sanity, exactly what he did. And because, I mean, it sounds as if he may have just straight up unplugged it, which doesn't exactly bode well. So we just want to know, just for closure, that way in case somebody else has that issue in the future, we know how to troubleshoot it correctly. Okay. Oh, Tech Surgeon. I just made a video about you like 20 minutes ago. So we went back and forth on this one here. Well, the firmware update, it is an older version than what is installed, causes RAM to be locked at 2400. The only one is a Wi-Fi driver with a Realtek device. Is not compatible with anything on my system either. I only have an Intel Wi-Fi device. I'm going to keep digging, at it, but I figured at this point anything I find might prove useful to others at least. Gotcha. Also, it should be known that if you go to what were we? We were on Windows 10, weren't we? So yeah, if we go to the Windows 10 one here, and we go to your updates, not check for updates, but view your update history. No, not view the update history. It's just Windows Update and view optional updates. That's what it is. All right, so view optional updates. Let me go back here. You go to so your updates and view optional updates. There is a different Intel Net version in the optional updates. It's possible your issue may have stemmed from a particular version, in which case I would say if you are going to test with the optional update instead of the one it's forcing you to install. Gotcha. Also, it should be known that if you go to your updates and view optional updates, there is a different Intel Net version in the optional updates. It's possible your issue may have stemmed from a particular version, in which case I would say if you are going to test with the optional update instead of the one it's forcing you to install. So yeah, there's another update there for the Intel Net. So when we were here, we were looking at it. So if we go to, let me get back to the AMD. So if we go to our optional updates, we want him to install this one, 22.200.0.6. Let me actually let him know. What was it? I'm showing it to be, what does that say? 22.200.0.6. 22.200.0.6. Okay. So what I'm thinking is, like, these numbers here, they follow the same paradigm regardless of company. So now it may be a different iteration or something like that, but they generally follow a paradigm. So like, for example, this 6 here may be the actual patch version. This may be the update version. This may be the release version, and this may be the firmware version. You see what I'm saying? It may be something like that. So it's possible that the issue he's experiencing, if it was software related, that it may be fixed in a higher version. That's why we're telling him to just go to the highest version and see if that resolves anything. Alrighty, Mr. Surgeon, keep us posted here. Good sir. Okay, this MF decided to get into my monitor, then proceeded to die inside. Is that an ant? I'm pretty sure that's an ant. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't see that. Let me back out so everybody can see. I'm so sorry. Right here. All right, so it says this MF decided to get into my monitor, then proceeded to die inside. And that's what we are looking at here. It looks like an ant. And so we zoomed in. Oh, it's definitely an ant. Wow. You must have had some sugar in your monitor. Yep. Rest in Pixel. Oh, dang it. That's so good. I can't think of something better than that. Oh, darn it. Dang, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I'll give you your props on that. That's actually really good. Can I beat that? I don't think I can. No, I can't beat it. I was trying to think of something with Cookie Monster, and I was like, okay, this is a bit much. So yeah, no, I can't beat that, bro. Western Pixel was pretty good. Looks like you've encountered a bug. That's awesome. Dang it. Why are they so much better at me than this? Okay, I'm just gonna leave it alone, bro. I'm gonna have to leave it alone because there's nothing I can say that can add to that conversation to make it funnier. My Windows 10 PC will only connect to my phone's portable hotspot when it's set to 2.4 and not 5. So this person here actually does have a Wi-Fi dongle plugged into his computer, and he's having an issue connecting to the 5 gig, but he can connect to the 2.4 gig just fine. And so we said the first thing I would say is to make sure that the USB dongle is on the most up-to-date version. You can find it here. Next, I would say go to the settings of your hotspot by clicking on it, and then go to advanced and make sure the protected management frames is turned off. So we went back and forth on this one because I thought I mistyped, and I thought that I wasn't giving clear enough instructions. So I basically retyped it. And then they said, when I click on the mobile hotspot name, the only option I get is to rename. I'm not really liking Android 13 on my phone, and it has a few bugs and annoying things going on, so I'm going to roll back and flash Android 12. I'll then try your suggestions. Thanks. No problem. Keep us posted. We stream every weekday, so we will respond we stream every day, so just reply if you need anything. There we go. We'll do it that way. So just let them know. Just keep us posted, you know, if you're going to try to go back to 12. Now, of course, I can also upgrade to 13 and see if I have that problem still, or if it gives me the option to make those changes. But yeah, I'd rather him come down to 12 than me go to 13 because that requires work on my part. So, so I would rather you do all the heavy lifting. Alrighty, so this is from CFX Kados. CFX writes, laptop doesn't see new RAM, CPU Z does. How do you, what? How would you actually get it to boot if you didn't have any RAM? I have recently tried to upgrade an Asus X55 4LJ, which I have no idea what that is. Let's see what that is real quick. Support. Any day now. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is the prettiest blank screen I've ever seen. Okay, let's try a different one here. Okay, cool. So it's like an older laptop. Got it. It has 4 gigs of solder DDR3, so the obvious choice was to go with an additional 4 gigs. The problem is the laptop doesn't even see it, not even in BIOS. However, when checking CPU Z, it recognizes a new slot is populated when matching description, etc. Any ideas? What model? Well, what is the model of the RAM stick you installed? What are the RAM speeds? Is the new one faster than the old one? Let's see if I want to say anything else on that. However, when checking CPU Z, it recognizes that the new slot is populated with matching description. What is the model of the RAM stick you install? What are the RAM speeds? Is the new one faster than the old one? It sounds like it is, but we'll just go ahead and ask just to be on the safe side. And what did they ask? Did you install DDR3 stick or DDR3L? Oh, this might be it. I wasn't really familiar with the differences. Laptop of a family member, not mine. I will get a DDR3L DIMM and we will see. Okay. Well, if that was the case, then it wouldn't have been able to fit. DDR3 versus DDR3L. Images. Differences between DDR3 and DDRL. Here. Let's just make sure. DDR3, but the voltage for DDR3L is less, which is 1.35 volts. Okay, so it's just a smaller amount of DIMM, but it's the same size DIMM stick. Which should you buy? DDR3L stands for double data rate 3, whereas DDR3 has single voltage RAM, and the DDR3L model has a more capable memory DIMM with dual. Okay, so DDR3L just seems like a more premium amount of memory, so we'll just go ahead and roll with that. Let's see. Who is this? Oh, this tech surgeon. Oh, we already did him. Okay, we already did the end and we laughed. I'm not really liking Android 13. Oh yeah, we already talked about that one. And he may be right on this one here. I didn't want to say the same thing he said, which is why I gave him some different options, like as far as looking at the RAM speed, XMP profiles, things of that nature. So we'll see what he says here. Burp. He probably might not even reply if he's able to get it fixed. So we'll see what happens. Okay, group 1 and 2 are done. Let me get a swig. All right, group 3. Yeah, it's definitely group 3. All right, group 3. Computer crashed and won't turn on. Today I upgraded my CPU. Everything ran nicely and I managed to get 30 minutes of gameplay before my computer crashed. I have tried to turn it back on with no luck. I have changed the fuse in the power LEDs, but that doesn't seem to have done anything. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Sure. When you try to power it on, do the lights come on a bit? Do the lights come on for a bit? Sure, when you try to power it on, do the lights come on for a bit? And I upgraded my CPU, everything ran nicely, and I managed to get 30 minutes. Okay, well, what happens if you test with your I have changed the fuse in the power LED, but that doesn't seem to have done anything. Any advice would be greatly. Sure, when you try to power it on, the lights come on for a bit. What happens if you test with your what was I gonna say? When you try to power it on, do the lights come on for a bit? What happens if you test with your what was I gonna say? If you test with your powered on, do the lights come on for a bit? What happens if you test with your the lights come on for a bit? Oh, that's what I'm gonna say. With your previous CPU, do you still have it? Do you still have it? So yeah, basically just roll back. I mean, if you still have your old CPU, then go ahead and roll back and see if it makes a difference. That's probably going to be one of his best options here, and that'll let him know what he needs to know. Alrighty, Civex, keep us posted. Oh, that's why I'm getting a little sleepy, because I am also very hot. Alrighty, there we go. Get a little fan air going. Okay, this is from Hupso. Hupso writes, PC does not turn on. Went to turn on this evening and nothing. No posts, no beeps, no lights. Worked fine earlier today and no indication of any issue when turned off. I've checked the power socket and the cables both are working. My thoughts are one of the following. And I said, I apologize, I have to ask, on the back of the new power supply, there's a kill switch. Is that guy on or off? If it's on, do any of the lights try to come on when you press the power button? It is unlikely that the power button on the case is a culprit, because those guys live forever, LOL. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion, but that's was the first thing I tried, flipping on, off and on, and attempting to turn it back on again. When I reinserted the power cable, there was some light arcing from inside the PSU, about what you would expect when electrical contact is made, but no internal lights came on. My previous button on the case did fail, but this was really down to the spring itself failing, and it became less effective at triggering the power switch over time. This case seems fine in that regard. Well, at that point, you're really just at trying a different PSU to see if it makes a difference. You really just try. Well, at that point, you're really just at trying a different PSU to see if it makes a difference. So yeah, at that point, because they've kind of already did everything, really you're only looking at PSU and motherboard, and it's not even posting. So it sounds more like it can be PSU, but motherboards may get into a point where they may not post either. Well, at that point, you're really just trying a different PSU to see if that makes a difference. Also, he can't, I was gonna say update the BIOS, but he can't actually even log into his PC because he can't see it. What CPU did he have? PSU is very old. Yeah, it's an old PSU, bro. I would go with that. Well, at that point, you're really just trying a different PSU. You're really just trying a different PSU to see if it makes a difference. So let's go with that and try to replace that guy, since PSU is old enough to be in high school. LOL. So let's go with that and try to replace that guy, since the PSU is old enough to be in high school. LOL. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, I will just go ahead and replace the PSU just to see. I mean, the only reason why I'm not trying to do a bunch of other stuff is because it's 18 years old. At some point in time, you just got to be like, okay, well, if it's 18 years old, then it's probably going to be a bad PSU at that point. So yeah, I would just go ahead and get ready to RMA or replace that PSU. There's no RMA for 18-year-old PSU. I'm sorry. I don't know where those words came from, but it most certainly wasn't from my mouth. But but yeah, that's what I would do here for that particular PSU here. I would probably just go ahead and replace it because it's crazy old. That man is an adult. That power supply unit is a straight adult. Downsize my travel PC to a Midori 5-liter. I don't know what this is, and now I want to know because of the fact of how pretty it is. Let's see. How big can you make a... Oh. So it's 11 by 4 by 7. So this guy is super tiny. Oh, okay. So it could take it appears like a 3070 Ti Mini. Yo, that's pretty sweet. I'm not even gonna lie. Midori 5L, you say. Do you have more pictures, you say? Oh, you do. Oh, I like the feet. That's probably the nicest implementation of feet I've seen. And we're just talking about computer feet, so just calm down. Alrighty, and yeah, oh, okay. So yeah, it's pretty small. Pretty darn good showing here. Wow, that's a lot of cords and cables and screws and stuff. Okay, so the power supply is at 80 plus platinum, which means that it's freaking awesome. And yeah, that's all he has on here. Still a pretty sweet build. And then he has, oh, it's a 2060 Super on the other side. The other one may be a little bit stronger, but I mean, if it's a 2060 Super, that it appears that guy works just fine. So let's see. His temps are okay. Oh, congratulations. That's a nice little build. Congrats. Congrats, good sir. That is quite the temperature readings. Temperature readings. Yeah, that's pretty nice, man. To actually get no higher than 66 degrees Celsius for your temperatures, that's not bad at all. Alrighty. Well, Jap Mayo for life. Let us know how that goes if you have any questions, but yeah, I doubt you will, because we are just gawking at how cool your build is. So this is gonna be from the Yeet Master, the Yeet Meister. So the Yeet Meister says, need help with internet access. My PC issues when I come to internet randomly, it just dies, and only on my PC, not my phone or any other device. My specs are this guy. When it comes to the internet, it randomly just dies, and only my PC, not my phone or any other device. I only built this around the summer of last year, so July of 2022. No matter what, randomly ever since I built it, there is time when my internet just dies, and I have tried to fix it. I have re-downloaded my drivers and all my updates and looked up and checked BIOS, but nothing works. Also, the internet just comes back after an unspecified time, so I don't know what to do. Sounds like you have packet loss. I have now also tried a full network reset under Windows. Okay. To have Windows download the drivers, flushed my DNS, reset my IP address. Oh snap, you know your stuff. Reset my IP address, unplugged my router, switch which port my Ethernet was in for both the PC and router, turn off the setting for my network adapter that allows it to turn off, forgot specifically what it was, and now with my Ether plugged in, it says there's no internet, but if I go and unplug the router and plug it back in, it says there's a connection, but it doesn't work most of the time. Sometimes it does work. Okay, well, it just seems like okay, well, it just seems like you have a connectivity problem. Turn off the settings of my network adapter that allows it to turn off. Also, now with my Ether plugged in, it says there's no internet, but if I unplug the router and plug it back in, it says there is internet, but it doesn't work most of the time. Okay, well, it seems like you should have an issue with network connectivity. What happens if you plug in directly? What happens if you plug in directly? And how far is the Wi-Fi signal in your home? And how far is the Wi-Fi signal in your home? So yeah, we're going to need to know how far the Wi-Fi signal is, because it could have just been straight up packet loss, but the best way to troubleshoot that is to just ask how far is the Wi-Fi signal in your home, and just kind of take it from there. Okay, the master, I hope that helps, good sir. Okay, so this is the PC part picker. I'm not sure what it's for, but I like the builds. I mean, your computer options are still pretty sweet, whoever that is. Uh, I need help with my Xbox One S. What time is it? It's 8. Okay, cool. We'll probably go to 5. I should be able to hit them all, but we're probably going to leave a little bit early here. I do have a place I need to be. It is getting a little late. Plus it's a Friday, so yeah, I'm not too worried about it. But we'll keep going until make sure we hit everybody because I don't want to miss another group and not be able to talk to them until Monday. I need help with my Xbox One S. Recently, every single time I turn my Xbox One S on, all games and apps I try to launch give me the please try again for some reason message, and I have to completely shut down my Xbox before anything will work. And then he said he also had a 5 terabyte external drive, which was kind of cray-cray. Like, who has a 5 terabyte drive? That's a lot, especially for a residential. Well, what happens when you disconnect the 5 terabyte drive? It sounds like it's having trouble parsing it. I don't know why I haven't tried to do that yet. I'll give that a try next time it acts up. But it would make sense as every now and then the Xbox doesn't recognize the hard drive and only shows the games installed on the internal and does that until I either restart the Xbox or unplug the hard drive and plug it back in. Yeah. Yeah, that drive sounds like it would be a nightmare to parse if the file size is pretty big. Yeah, that drive sounds like it would be a nightmare to parse if the file size is pretty big. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you're gonna have to do on this one here. You're gonna have to unhook that. Like, I know Windows PCs that have trouble with 5 terabytes. It's such a weird, odd number. So yeah, that's what I would say for that one. So yeah, just let us know what happens with that, and we'll keep our ear to the ground, to the floor. I don't know what the statement is. It's something funny, but keep your ear to the ground or something. Made some stands in shop to align my monitors for gaming. In shop? What is he, like 12? Man, what's up with these kids having like better rigs than me? I had to earn mine. Like on top of that, this man has a Naga. Like, you have a Naga? Come on now. Come on now. You better have a job. That's all I'm trying to say is that you better have a job with that. Made some stands in shop to align my monitors for gaming. Oh, I see. He's actually just talking about right here. He's not talking about this entire stand. He's just talking about like these little things so he can line them up properly. Okay. So he was able to carve a piece of wood. He told everybody about it. That mouse thumb getting a true workout. Mouse thumb. Okay. He said something and it should be funny, but I couldn't find it. Mouse thumb. Oh, okay. So he's talking about the Naga. Nice Naga. Nice Naga. LOL. Okay, so Canadian man, nice build, bro. Congratulations. I used to run this build too with 3 28-inch monitors. It didn't go very well because every time I tried to detach and retach, it started having problems whenever I was using my MacBook, so I had to stop. Okay, rate this setup. Acceptable ad 7137. Well, I mean, it's just directly above you, so it looks pretty nice and cozy. It'd be like that real estate agent. I only say cozy when it's small, but yeah, I mean, it looks all right. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I know laptop and a old on the matter, but still going strong and started to save up money this year for my build. I just wanted to know you guys' opinion. Rate the setup. I mean, what's there to say? Well, not a lot to say. Most companies use ThinkPads, so there is a possibility. Well, not a lot to say. Most companies use ThinkPads, so there's a possibility. That's a ThinkPad, right? Yeah. Well, not a lot to say. Most companies use ThinkPads, so there is a possibility that the ThinkPad you are using is new. Most companies use ThinkPads, so there's a possibility that the ThinkPad you are using is well, okay, that's not the best way to say that. Well, not a lot to say. Most companies use ThinkPads, so there is a possibility that the ThinkPad you are using A laptop and an old on for the matter does, but still going strong. It started to save up money this year. Okay, this was a rate my setup, right? Yeah, okay. Well, not a lot to say. Most companies use ThinkPad, so there's a possibility that the ThinkPad you are using is for your job. The ThinkPad that you are using is for your job, in which case this is a nice small form factor computer desk, computer alcove. There we go. In which case this is a nice small form factor computer alcove that the ThinkPad you are using is for your job, in which case is a small nice form factor computer alcove. There's a possibility that the ThinkPad you are using is for your job. If so, I rate it a not yours out of 10. Out of 10. 10 LOL. Rest of it is not funny enough. Okay, there we go. If so, I rated a not yours out of 10 LOL. There we go. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty nice build, though. It's a pretty nice setup. Okay, the 3 bagels. The 3 bagels writes, when I run the spaceship ghosting test, everything looks fine, though it doesn't show up in screen recordings, even playing the recording on the same monitor. Any ideas what could be causing this? Here's what it looks like. This is the only video of the flickering. The ghosting looks different. I swear, if this is an actual ghost, I'm going to be like, what? Oh no, Batman. I'm sorry, what's the problem? I have an Odyssey G7. I have been having some weird white after images and flickering in games. Okay, I know, I see. He's talking about the letters on the text. Well, what is your frame rate set at on the G7? What happens if you take it down to 60? Does that resolve the issue? So yeah, if you're seeing that little flickering, it can be several different things. I mean, it can be obviously your graphics adapter, it can be the cable, it can be the monitor. But what was your frame rate set on the G7? What happens if you take it down to 60? Does that resolve the issue? 60 FPS. Does that resolve the issue? Oh my goodness, Anthony, come on now. Does that resolve the issue? Okay, so I have a monitor. Try this. Let me know if it helps. Make sure VR is switched on once you have it updated. Yeah, we just need some more information exactly on what you're doing currently. And then also trying to change the 60 FPS for the monitor to see if it makes a difference. So that's what I would do here. Just keep us posted, 3 bagels. I'm sure you're probably gonna have questions. Okay, yeah, I'm done of looking at Batman Arkham Asylum or Arkham Knights or whatever. I have an audit. Okay, no, we just talked about this. Okay, wrong one. All right, so PC occasionally crashing when launching a browser or game. My PC has crashed 4 times over a span of a month of active usage. The constant between the crash is whenever a new application is launched. The Brave browser. We're doing the Brave browser thing again. We've run into that before. And it was that lady that was trying to get all her tabs back because she was using the Brave browser. And we were like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Valheim once and League of Legends twice. Transitioning into game, not when starting the game launcher itself. The crash is almost identical, being that my screen turns black and loses connection. The computer as if I unplugged them. The computer itself remains powered on, but unresponsive despite rolling me head on the carpet. Okay. So remains powered on, but unresponsive. So, okay, so you have a 3090. That's pretty sweet. I appreciate any tips or suggestions to try and resolve whatever is causing this. Okay, so the PC is occasionally crashing whenever you're launching games, and they crash all around the same time. Being that the screen turns black and loses connection to the computer. Quick question. Quick question. When the screen turns black, have you tried to... Quick question. When the screen turns black, have you tried to unhook the HDMI/display cable and re-hook or re-plug it back in? Quick question. With the screen turns black, have you tried to unhook the HDMI display and re-plug it back in? We're trying to see, there's situations that happen when your screen is showing a black screen, and the way you usually resolve that is just by unhooking the actual HDMI or display cable and plugging it back in. It usually just means that the cable itself had lost signal. But we'll just ask and let's just see what they say, and then kind of just go from there, because it can be a lot of different ways. Any overclocks in place, any errors listed in Event Viewer when the crash happens, try reinstalling graphics drivers. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, and then mine is a little different here. Quick question. When the screen turns black, have you tried to unhook the HDMI display cable and replug it back in? So yeah, we have two people who have given him answers that are varied between each other. So that's really good. So Ank Ma, keep us posted. Okay. Ooh, 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 ooh. I was told this was the best place to share my shuttle PC build. Did I do it right? Okay, well, I need a picture. Is that a computer case? Wow. That is a thing. Okay. Is that small display a second monitor or just a prop? I don't know. I'd probably just play with it like it was toys. From like when I was like 8. Okay, I like that it has a spot for the graphics card. That is pretty sweet considering all things considered. But yeah, I'd be kind of Star Trek shuttle. Oh wow, I almost called that Star Wars. I built a Star Trek shuttle PC to celebrate the return of the TNG cast. Okay. Share my shuttle PC build. Did I do it right? Oh. Oh yeah, that's pretty sweet. I was told that this was the best place to share my shuttle PC build. What was the build? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, that is most definitely the most interesting case I've seen all day. Does it overheat in such a small shuttle? I don't know what it's called because I didn't watch Star Trek. I watched what was it, Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise or something like that, but I've never actually watched all of Star Trek, so I don't really know. I'm just kind of going off the cuff with it. So I'm sure it probably has a name. I just don't know what it is. I am so old that I really was hoping on someone reviving a Shuttle XPC PC. Those little hot boxes were the sheet and mainstream SFF options we had 20 plus years ago. That Star Trek themed build is really nice, awesome though. Yeah, I like it. I think it's pretty sweet. Now, of course, it's probably getting crazy hot, but we can just call it exhaust in this kind of a situation. It's just straight exhaust. It'll be fine. It's just what they call it. We call our defects just unresolved magic or something like that for Hogwarts. I would say this one here, we call this heat just unresolved exhaust. Okay, realistic airport. Okay, after percussive maintenance, computer started stuttering during game. I don't know what percussive means. Could you be more specific about the assault allegations you allege happened to your PC? What actually happened? Maybe that can point us in the right direction. Also, make sure your monitor is set for the correct frame rate in the settings system display, advanced display, it may be at 30 FPS instead of 60. The monitor is set up correctly. Okay, but you need to answer my questions. As for the alleged assault, I'm not saying I did this, but somebody slammed a full on-death strike hammer fist with accompanying battle cry into the right side of my computer. The side with the motherboard is attached to. Whoever did that meant business. Wow. Okay, so computer starts stuttering during games. 100 doesn't stutter when running GPU-Z stress test. There isn't a single stutter, and the performance monitor stays between 96 to 100. I swapped out a known good video card, and the problem persisted. So, percussive computer stutters during game. As for the alleged assault, but somebody slammed a full on-death strike hammer fist with accompanying battle cry into the right side of the computer. Computer stutters during game. Okay, just making sure nobody asked me a question. So if the computer is stuttering during the game on a 1660 Ti, I mean, I expect the motherboard is at fault, but I can't find a stress test to isolate the motherboard. Naturally, I could be wrong in my diagnosis. What do you think? Wow, that's insane. Well, so if it's at 60 FPS, as for the side that the motherboard is attached to, whoever did this meant business. Well, that's insane. Wow, that's insane. Well, stuttering during game, but he doesn't have the problem in other software. I ran Windows built-in memory tester, and it says there are no problems. I suspect the motherboard is at fault. Specs update. When playing Star Citizen, I noticed the stutter happens once every 2 seconds, and that the performance monitor has extremely... Oh, Vigilante. Hey, homie. Hey, about yesterday, I did the cloning wrong. I thought you said drag the C drive, but I think you meant to click and turn to the right. Turn to the right. Oh, yes, yes. So once you're bringing them all down, technically the C would be the only one that's left, and it needs to be on the end. So yeah, technically, yeah, you would click it and drag it to the right. You're absolutely right. I couldn't show it because if I showed it, I would wipe a drive in order to show it. I did the cloning. Okay, lesson known, but it's all right. I give the SSD to a friend. It needed. Okay, so you gave him the old SSD or you gave him the new SSD? Or were you able to move everything over? Hopefully you were able to move everything over and gave your old SSD to a friend. But I'm glad you got that working, Vigilante. My apologies. I was trying to do it off the top of my head without actually wiping a drive in order to show you. I was like, man, I don't have any drives I can get rid of right now. I kind of need that. I don't want to reinstall Windows. Okay, cool. So 1660 Ti with a 2600X, and it's stuttering in game, but it doesn't stutter in software. Oh, the new one. Okay, sweet. Congratulations. Glad it worked out for you, homie. CPU-Z. I ran Windows built-in memory tester, and it seems that there's no problems. And also, whenever you do all your stress tests, it's okay, but it still stutters in game. Okay, well, did he ever say which game? I opened the computer and reseated the graphics card and RAM. Third edit, reseated the CPU and all cables. Clear the new SSD. It's okay. Sorry for the confusion. No, you're fine. You're fine. So in general, okay. In general, it's never an idea to kind of get so it takes me a while before I ever really get confused with anything, or I'm sorry, not confused, or cause confusion with anything. Like I don't have a very, very long temper. Like, it doesn't bother me. And the reason why it's like that is because sometimes when dealing with customers, there can be a language barrier, and you have to understand that every person that you talk to, there is a possibility that there could be one. So because of that, I don't take any, anger or annoyance or anything like that with somebody asking questions, because they may just straight up not know, or they may be straight up in language barrier. So you want to treat them all the exact same way, and you want to treat them all. And if you have to repeat, you have to repeat, or if you have to say something proper or say something or show it, then you do that, because you don't know what you're dealing with on the other side. You see what I'm saying? So that's for everybody or anybody that's watching this, that's kind of the way you want to handle that. You always want to make sure that you put yourself in the an ideal situation in order to handle that particular issue. Wow, that's insane. The monitor is set up correctly. It's really alleged assault. Wow, that's insane. Well, for starters, what do you mean by this stutter? What games are we talking about here? What happens if you set it to 720p and 60 FPS on low settings? Does it still stutter? Did he say he already did that? No. He just ran a bunch of stress tests and benchmarks. Happens once every 2 seconds. So, okay, so he's playing Star Citizen. Keep what happens if you set it to 720p and 60 FPS on low settings? Does it still stutter? Also, be sure to test this with Star Citizen so our findings will be similar. Yeah. So yeah, with that one there, I mean, if somebody took a sledgehammer to your computer, that's probably going to be the issue. But outside of that, for starters, what do you mean by the stutter? What games are we talking about here? What happens if you set it to 720p and 60 FPS on low? Does it also still stutter? Also, be sure to test this with Star Citizen so our findings will be similar, because he tested this on Star Citizen. So that's what we said it. Okay, realistic airport, keep us posted, bro. All right, so this is a new one. Okay, cool. Xbox One turning off immediately. It worked earlier today, but when I turned it on, it didn't show up on the TV and it turned itself off after about 20 seconds. And now it only stays on for less than a second. Is this an issue with the Xbox or the power supply? And can I fix it? If it's a faulty power brick, could it damage the Xbox? Okay, well, let's flip this, okay? Generally, if an Xbox turns on and then turns itself back off, that means it went into sleep mode and then turned itself back off because it probably doesn't have an input. Same thing goes with the PlayStation. It'll go straight to sleep on you. So it's a possibility that it's not detecting the input, so it may be a bad cable or television. Okay, well, I can't even spell well. Xbox One turning off immediate. Okay, well, for this one, if the Xbox One is turning off immediately, well, for this one, what happens if you plug the Xbox into a different input? Okay, well, for this one here, what happens if you plug the Xbox into a different input on the TV? Does that make a difference? What about if you swap out the cable connecting from the Xbox? What about if you swap out the cable connecting from the Xbox to the TV? If you swap out the cable connecting, does that make a difference? Does that make a difference? Alrighty, so that's what I would say on that one. To swap out the cable and the make sure it's going into a different input on the television to see if that makes a difference, and then kind of go from there. But yeah, if it's turning off immediately, that typically means that it doesn't have any type of an input for it to actually pull up and show a screen to. So even if it is hooked up, it may be just a bad HDMI cable or a bad port on the television, but we won't know until you make those changes. So impressive rip. Let us know how that goes, good sir. I'm experiencing Vigilante. Recently, ever since I got the new disc, I've been experiencing freezing time to time in game. What is the problem? Okay, well, so we cloned that other guy, and ever since then you've been experiencing freezing. So, was the drive the only component that you made changes with? You know, because if you're getting freezing, the games, well, okay. Did you replace it with an SSD or an NVMe? Let's go with that first. I'll put it in the chat. Did you replace it with a SSD or NVMe? Let me know if you have questions about what an NVMe is. But yeah, if I just wanted to make sure, because it could just, it's a possibility that it could be a faulty drop, but I seriously doubt it because it sounds like it's doing everything just right. So it may just be like a graphics update, like you may need to update your drivers or something along those lines. I would start with that though. And oh, it's an SSD. Okay, cool. So you replace the SSD with a different SSD. And so what I would say for this one here is if the frame rates are dropping, here's the thing about frame rates. Once you are actually into the actual game, if the frame rates are dropping, that's actually already loaded into memory. It doesn't matter what kind of drive you have when it comes to video games because it actually just moves it from the drive to RAM and then you play the game off RAM. So in this particular situation here, if you're having an issue and the frame rates are dropping, it's a possibility that it could be a RAM issue or a graphics issue. If it's a, I'm sorry, this was facing the wrong direction. If it's a RAM issue, what I would say is to turn off your XMP profile. So whatever XMP profile you currently have it set to, go ahead and disable that and see if it makes a difference. And then with the driver issue, be sure to update to the latest driver for the graphics card to see if that makes a difference. So I would say do those two and then let us know how that goes. Let me know if you need me to type that. I can. Xbox One turning off immediately. It worked earlier. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, we're done with him. Alrighty, how do I fix this avatar edit error? Why are you trying to create avatars for the Xbox Series X? It sounds like it doesn't want you to. Sorry about that. Please try again later. Couldn't save your avatar. Well, it just means that, well, it sounds as if it's having some problems accessing your hard drive. Are you using an external drive? If so, what happens if you unhook it? Does it work then? What happens if you unhook it? Does it work then? Yeah, but typically when I'm running into these, it usually means that it's having problems parsing the drive, so it shows you that error. But it could be because you're trying to set everything to the external drive, and the external drive may be slower than the drive it currently had in it or had in it previously. Alrighty. That's what I would say for that good stuff. Let me know how that goes. Okay, so final group here. And then I'm going to sleep like a baby. Long jumping voice. All right, I like the name. Wireless device suddenly gets choppy. Okay, so this is a person who had this Wi-Fi issue and also had a Bluetooth dongle. And let's see what I said. Okay, we have to run it. We've run into this issue as well. This typically happens when the two USB ports share the front I/O. What you would want to try for this is plug the Bluetooth dongle in the front of the PC and the Wi-Fi dongle in the back to see if that makes a difference. Awesome, I'll give it a try. Thank you. No problem. No problem. Glad we were able to help. Be like, you owe us a W. We'll take the letter, or we'll take anything that begins the letter W. I mean, we're pretty easy going. Okay, so this is Fighter Shadow IP fragmentation. Oh yeah, okay. So what's the error? Do you have a picture? I tried Googling your title, but there are no images to speak of. What is the actual problem? We host a troubleshooting live stream, so we will be back on to reach back out to you tomorrow should you respond, because he basically just gave us a paragraph of nothing. Hey, yeah, sorry, I thought maybe people already knew about this error. Nope, don't. What's the error? Might support IP fragmentation. Oh, okay. The router you're using might not support IP packet fragmentation, and some network features for your PS5 might be restricted. For details, contact your routing manufacturer. Okay. I can explain that. That's a networking question. So I really need help. I know there have been several other posts made of this, and I'm ready to figure out the problem, but I haven't been able to, so I may ask to communicate. I've literally tried everything to make this error go away, and to no avail. So IP fragmentation, okay. So I can answer like a network engineer. So IP fragmentation is a feature that allows you to break apart packets that are larger than 1500 bytes. It allows you to fragment them. So basically you can break them into a smaller frame, and it puts a tag on it so that the receiving end can take it and reassemble it and actually form whatever it's trying to reform. So basically he doesn't have that feature turned on, but there are very few routers that actually allow you to turn on fragmentation. Because so basically all it's saying really is that the other side, so for example, if you have, we now have a reason to use the Wacom. The Wacom. Let me just do that. And let me find my, oh, here it is right in my face. Okay, Wacom. Let's do it. All right, so with the Wacom here, one note, right? All right, bet. So let's see here. All right, so with this one here, so IP fragmentation basically means if we have a packet going from one side to the other, right? So it's going from this guy here to this guy here. Okay. So fragmentation means that this is the packet, right? So this is the packet. And this is the way they used to draw for us. You used to have lines in it, right? So this is the packet. So basically what fragmentation allows you to do, it allows you to break apart a packet that is bigger than 1500. So let's say if it's like 1700, it'll have one that may be 1498, or actually it won't be 1498, I apologize. It'll be like 1460. So this allows for headers of that packet. So one will be 1460 and the other one will be like 200, right? So but they belong to the same frame. So they belong to the exact same packet, but it's just that because it's bigger than 1500, it has to break it apart. So what it's saying is this guy, the guy that you're sending it to, it supports it, but this guy does not. So it knows that you don't support it. So it's telling you, hey, it knows that the router does not support it. So it's telling you, hey, the router doesn't support fragmentation, but I know the server does because this is the Xbox's server. So go ahead and turn on fragmentation. That way, if you send a larger packet that's bigger than 1500 bytes, it'll be able to fragment it into two smaller packets to get to the location. And then the location will be able to turn this back into the one packet. That's what it's telling you. And it knows that you don't have it turned on because it's trying to send it and it's probably getting dropped. And so it knows that it can't send higher than 1500 bytes. But typically, if it knows this, it won't then try to fragment. It may have just done it for the test. So, but at the same time, if you are having issues, you may have to make that change. So it really kind of depends on the router that we're dealing with, whether or not you can actually run that fragmentation. But it's just a feature that you turn on. Like firewalls have it. I've turned it on a million times, but I haven't turned it on like my router at home. So actually, you know what? We can actually do a test. So let's do this here. Let's go back to work. And he was doing the fragmentation on, what was he doing it on? He was, okay, this is PlayStation. I don't think the he gave us a picture. Okay, yeah, it doesn't show anything bad. I'm just making sure. Okay, so are you alive? Or are you broken? You look very, very broken, sir. Okay. You sleep? I'm gonna need you to wake up, homie. There we go. Oh. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a try and see if we see it too. Because I've never turned the feature on. So for the fact that it's actually telling him that is kind of interesting. Okay, obviously this looks like it's dead. So let me plug it into a charger and then go like that. And then go like that. And let's go ahead and go to the settings and take a look. Network. Test internet connection. This would be interesting. So this is theirs for reference while this is running. So this is theirs. Type 2, 740 megabits per second, 9.9 on the upload, and then it's telling you about the whole packet fragmentation. So let's go ahead and go to PS5. Okay, well, mine apparently had issues signing in for some reason. That's kind of weird, but whatever. It's kind of slow, but okay. Why does he have a 740 megabits per second and I only have 30? That's just stupid. I think my Wi-Fi needs to be rebooted. I think I may be in the same boat as him, but neither here nor there. All we trying to look at. I knew my nav type would be 2, because I don't have any port forwarding set up, so that's about right. But I want to see if we get his error. The router you're using might not support IP packet fragmentation, and some network features of your PS5 may be restricted. Okay, so mine does not give that error, but his does. So let's see. So ours does not give that error. It cried about the PlayStation Network sign-in, but that's not a big deal. So let's go back to his, right? So his gives us that. Ours does not. So what kind of router does he have? So let's just assume that it is a Netgear router Xbox IP fragmentation. Operating range. This should take. What the heck are you talking about? It's called the MTU size. I called it 1500 bytes just so that everybody can understand what it is, but it actually is the MTU. But yeah, so 1500 is the largest that it can be. So whenever you have fragmentation, it'll break it apart. But 1492, you can use that, but most people use 1460 because it's safer, because it gives you it allows you to have all these different types of headers. But that's neither here nor there. Advanced setup, WAN setup. You can change the MTU size, but we're talking about the ability to fragment the payload. It shouldn't actually cause an issue, though. You know what? Let's look that up real quick. Xbox IP fragmentation error. Reserve static IP address. No. The issues with IPv4 fragmentation. So we should make the IP fragmentation undesirable. Yeah, we know. When it breaks apart, it's not as quick as if it just enabled jumbo frames. In other words, if you made it 1800 bytes, that's faster than making it 1500 and 300. Does that make sense? That's all it really means. But that does not say anything for any of these PS5 speed tests. Oh, that's right. It was the PS5 IP fragmentation error. Okay, let's take a look real quick. Resolution telling you to contact blah blah blah. How to fix blah blah blah. Since the router I'm using a gigabit in 2 years, I felt fairly confident the router was not the problem here. It was most definitely wasn't broken. Blah blah blah. ISPs are fairly notorious for shifting blame away from themselves. This informs that the upload speeds are slow, but the download is fine. It also lets them know blah blah blah. Fingers crossed. What is the issue though? Something that you can do. 1500 by default. I ran a speed test on my Xbox. Automatic value given to the MTU was 1480. Maybe a good place to start. Enter it as the value. If it doesn't fix the problem, try to lower MTU. Okay, so what they're trying to say is that. Okay, let's go back to the picture. Okay, let's go back to the picture. We can explain it. All right. So what they're trying to say is if you have. I'm sorry. Let me open up OneNote. All right, so what they're trying to say is if it's at 1500, so if it's at 1500, what they're trying to say is if this is encapsulated. So basically, if there are if there is some encryption on this packet to make it bigger than 1500, they're saying to instead of making it 1500, make it 1460. You see what I'm saying? So that if there's any type of extra packet or extra amount of packets in the payload, it can actually get to its location, and it can still add that encapsulation or anything else that you want to put on that payload whenever you send it over to the other side. That's what they're saying. So they're saying just lower the MTU to allow it to happen. You could also raise the MTU if it supports it, but the other side may not support it. So and they're saying, okay, well, we know that the other side at least supports 1500. It has to. So let's go ahead and lower it a little bit. That way, if there are any headers or anything type of encapsulation that can happen to this payload, it'll still get over to the other side. So it's just a way to handle it, a different way of handling it. Then basically there are options of turning on defragmentation or turning off defragmentation on different hosts. But if we're talking about an Xbox, or if we're talking about a router in this case, then the router may not have that particular option. So basically, it's just telling you that you may be having some networking issues. So let's do this here. Let's go back to our issue. But every darn time I get the same error. I've tried it all. Please share the fixes you did so I can finally get rid of this issue myself. Okay. So IP fragmentation is a feature that allows you to break apart packets that are larger than 1500 bytes. You could also raise or lower the MTU to accommodate the payload instead. So in your router's settings, you can start by changing the MTU to 1460 to see if that makes a difference, and the error goes away. We don't want to raise the MTU because there is no guarantee that all the hops, okay, this is getting so networking, all the hops along the way support frames larger than 1500. Okay, so IP fragmentation is a feature that allows you to break apart packets that are larger than 1500 bytes. You could also raise or lower the MTU to accommodate the payload instead. So in your router settings, you can start by changing the MTU to 1460 to see if that makes a difference, and the error goes away. We don't want to raise the MTU because there is no guarantee that all the hops along the way support frames larger than 1500. So you should be able to Google your router and type change MTU. Let us know if that does not work. One networking issue and I'll wake up. I was getting drowsy and everything, and then of course we get one networking issue and I'm like, okay, let's go. But yeah, that's how you do that. So basically, whenever you have fragmentation, let's say if it's like 1520 or something like that. Well, one payload may be 1460 and the other side may be 60. You see what I'm saying? So it breaks it apart, but whenever you do that, the other side has to reconfigure it so it makes the connection itself slower. Now, you can also try to go jumbo frames, which basically means that you're going something higher than 1500 or a larger payload, but here's the thing, every single hop along the way has to support a frame size that's larger than 1500. If it doesn't, it's going to drop it. So that's the reason. You can't guarantee that every hop also supports something larger than 1500. We call it jumbo frames, and if you have jumbo frames turned on, generally that means that the jumbo frames throughout all of the hops are usually turned on because we're talking about internet service providers and stuff like that. But if we're talking about just from the residential side, there's no guarantee all of the hops to get to the Xbox server or the PlayStation server also support jumbo frames. 9 times out of 10, they probably don't. And so instead of actually raising it, we're just going to lower it to see if that actually allows him to get it working. So that's what you would do for this one here. So I hope I explained that really well. I was trying to explain it while being slightly sleepy, but that's what it means basically. It just means that the payload itself is too big, so it has to fragment it because it's larger than 1500 bytes. That's what it means. So it has to fragment it. And you can lower the maximum size of the payload so it never has to fragment it again. So that if there's any type of headers or anything like that that makes it over 1500, if you take it down to 1460 for the payload itself, then you have a lot of room to wiggle in case you need to actually put headers and all that kind of stuff on your payload. So that's the reason why you lower it down to 1460 to see if it makes a difference. This is also a troubleshooting step in like firewalls and routers and everything. Like this is exactly what you do. You basically change the MTU down to 1460 or jumbo frames depending on the situation in order to troubleshoot a frame issue. So if you want to learn how to do this on the commercial end, that's exactly what you would do. You would actually modify the MTU here. But of course, you know, sometimes they also have the ability to turn on and off fragmentation if we're talking about individual hosts. Wow, that went so commercial. I am so sorry. That went way, way, way too far. I didn't think it was going to go that far. Sorry about that. All right, let's get to actual video games because I feel like I went straight commercial on everybody. So this one here is the CPU market is perfect example of what happens when there is competition in capitalism. The GPU market is the perfect example of what happens when businesses get together and realize they just raised their prices. Except Intel, this is a weird timeline. The AMD and Intel in the CPU market. I get that. AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA in the GPU market. It's a video? Oh. AMD and Intel in the CPU market. Yeah, AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA in the GPU market. Consumers, AMD and NVIDIA melting GPUs that cost a kidney. Intel, A750 price drops and driver updates is mercy. That sounds about right. That's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate. Until they nerf mercy into the ground. LOL. I'm still bitter about that. They keep nerfing mercy. So it's kind of hard for you to call Intel mercy unless, you know, they make the drivers and firmware updates better and then turn around and make them trash again. So yeah, but I get it. This is not lost on me. Anybody else have funnier jokes? The funniest part about this is that after all the anti-competitive bullcrap Intel has pulled over the years in the CPU market, is now in our best interest to cheer for them with the GPUs. Yeah, that's true. Because having some competition is a lot better. That way you don't have to try to compete with scalpers, which is not ideal for anyone ever. Okay, you messed with Crabbo. My Spotify isn't allowing me to view songs, skip, or pause from the sidebar. What time is it? Okay, 8:44. We're doing all right. I have had Spotify on my Xbox for a while now, and all of a sudden, when I tried to go onto the app, it opened the sidebar as usual, but it was grayed out. No album cover, song name, ability to pause or skip, but I could still change the volume, though it acts mostly like and is viewed as the closed app. I've tried uninstalling and reinstalling, changing the different playlists and then back full restarting my Xbox, opening and closing the app. However, none of them seem to work. Has anyone had this or know how to fix it? To view songs, skip, or pause from the sidebar. From the sidebar? Okay. Does it play sound when you choose the Xbox from a different device that also has Spotify? So in Spotify, in the bottom right hand corner, you have an option to choose which device you want to play music on. So what I'm trying to get at is that you may be able to change the music directly from your cell phone by just having it switch to the Xbox as an input. Okay, does it play sound when you choose the Xbox from a different device that also has Spotify? So, I mean, you've already tried uninstalling, reinstalling, and changing a different playlist and back fully restarting my Xbox, open up and closing the app. None of them seem to work. Has anyone else had this issue or know how to fix it? Does it play sound when you choose the Xbox from a different device that also has Spotify? Does any other app have issues? Does any other app have issues? Uninstalling, reinstalling, changing to a different playlist, and then back, fully restarting my Xbox, opening and closing the app. I can't actually show you the app there because in order to do that, you can't just actually download Spotify. You actually have to log in. And then on top of that, you would actually see my music, and we can't have that. I don't want you guys to know what I be listening to. But opening and closing the app, however, none of them seem to work. Has anyone else had or knows how to fix this? Well, you've already tried to uninstall and reinstall. You can try to install it onto an external drive to see if it makes a difference. Does any other apps have the issue? Oh wow, that's terrible. You can try to install Spotify onto an external drive to see if it makes a difference. Okay, does it play sound when you choose the Xbox from a different device that also has Spotify? Does any other apps have issues? You can try to install Spotify onto an external drive to see if it makes a difference. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay. Oh my God. I hit the middle of my wrist on the little table riser thing that allows me to rise my table. Whatever. That hurt. So I was moving on. Away evidence. This might be the wrong sub. So I had a friend who played with loads, but they deleted their account out of the blue. Is there a way to contact them with basically nothing? Oh, okay. There's a friend that you played with a lot, but they deleted their account out of the blue. Is there a way to contact them with basically no information? Not with any information. Not with any information. Unfortunately, you would need to verify the account. Sorry about that. Yeah, nobody's going to talk to you if you can't verify an account, bro. Because, I mean, they're not going to let you get access to somebody's account in order to get their username or password or some kind of information there for them. Or like the email address if it doesn't know who that person is and what's their relationship with you like. That they wouldn't know that, so they're just going to say no. You wouldn't get past their first set of verification. Okay, away evidence. We'll go ahead and call it here. 5 groups and a lot of little topics there. That's gonna be pretty good for today. We're gonna pick back up on Monday. Sorry for the little early reprieve here. I do have a little bit of stuff I need to do here, but it's fine. We'll pick back up on Monday, and there's probably gonna be a whole lot of issues, and I'll try to make some videos over the weekend and just keep it pumping. So we'll just pick back up on Monday. And if you like this video, go ahead and like button. If you really like it, go to subscribe. I love you either way. Take care. All the best and bye.